One, two, three. We want to welcome everybody to Mom and Dad Talks. Our favorite two people are Mom and Dad. Mom and Dad, how you all doing?
We're doing just fine.
Bless your heart, baby.
We have a lot of rain. That's about it.
And we have Hantie. Hey, Hantie. Look at all the lovely people and their glasses. They got new glasses, folks. I'm telling you, they're up to par here. And, speaking of up to par, our economy is an interesting spot. And you guys have been through a lot of ups and downs when the economy goes good and bad. What are your thoughts on what's happening with this economy right now?
Well, I'm thinking that the economy is starting to tank
Mm-hmm.
and
Starting to what?
tank, go down. And then they warn people about their 401ks to be careful of them because many people are going to lose their 401ks and just prices of things. What was it that they were saying? Oh, the price of new cars are
Oh.
going up between $8,000 and $15,000 per car because of the tariffs.
Mm.
So, my thing is this is not the time to buy a car.
Mm-hmm.
This is not the time to make car payments because unfortunately, I think there are going to be a lot of people that have to lose their cars.
Mm.
Oh no.
Yeah, because of if you purchased a car like 2 years ago and you
Mm-hmm.
can't afford to make the monthly payments, then
You'll be on the
you'll be on the block.
you'll be hoofing it. You'll be hey, hello everybody. You can't, it's illegal to do this, but
They say the
basically
fastest way to
you'll be
get
Ubering it or something. But what were you gonna say, Mom?
they say the fastest way to get on your feet is miss your car payment.
So who else wants to say anything about? I mean, because like I said, you guys experienced a lot. I mean, you didn't live through the Great Depression, but you were born like 10 years, like after 15 years, like
10 years after the
after
depression.
the Depression.
But the economy goes up and then it goes down. I mean, it's just one of those roller coaster things that you'd like to blame the administration and all of that, but that's the way life is.
Mm-hmm.
We have things in our lives that it's real good at one time. Then at one time it's really bad.
Mm-hmm.
So as a person who a one check household, that's what I am.
Mm-hmm.
You know, um, I'm sure that there's a time that's going to come when it's not good. But I'm not worried because it goes and it comes.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
Sometimes we have good days, sometimes we have bad days. I mean years
Mm-hmm.
actually.
Yeah. And
This is a good year.
you guys experienced some tough moments, a lot of tough moments, and a lot of bright moments in your lives. Um,
Mhm.
that's something. Mom, you wanted to say something about the economy?
What I wanted to say about the economy is that when things are tough and rough, we have to be ready to handle the the, the tightness.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, I guess I'm different than a lot of people because the trend is, when you're making the money, you want to spend it.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I got it, so I'm gonna buy this and I'm gonna buy that. But actually, when the economy is tightening up like it is now, the man in the White House made he's the one that made the decision to put these tariffs on these other countries,
Mm-hmm.
realizing to me that when he does something to them, they're not gonna take it sitting down. They're gonna come back
Mm-hmm.
on us, and
Mm-hmm.
the poor people here in this country are gonna have to suffer because well, he put the tariffs on that country. They're not gonna take that sitting down, and they're not gonna take it real friendly.
It starts a way. It starts a war. a global war, and
Correct.
we're in what's called a global economy.
Right.
So the goods that we used to get at a certain price now will increase. And unfortunately, the theory is to get the jobs back in America and to get the kind of even, where it's an even playing field, where the cost equal the amount of paying Americans to make that same thing. And the problem you have is that you started we're so integrated now with where we get our goods at, how we get it, how we trade our goods, that yes, there's always somebody that's going to have an unfair moment, but we're so tied together globally. When you start tariffs, the person is the consumer. That's us. Because at the end of the day, you may like a certain car, you may like a certain thing. You're going to pay extra for it, for what you like for it.
If you want it bad enough,
Yeah.
you'll pay the extra. But however, I believe I can beat the economy by not going out buying a new car, and it's going to hurt. It's going to hurt the industry here if people are not going to buy.
Correct.
It's hurt really bad. So this is a tug of war, and it's not going to be a friendly outcome.
Well,
I think the Bible has a good plan for us as consumers right now, and that's found in Malachi. When you pay a faithful tithe and offering, don't have to worry about them. Right. Because the Bible makes a promise that you will still prosper,
and
He will pour you out a blessing that you will not have room enough to receive it. But if you go out and you buy this and buy that, and
not give back,
that is foolishness.
The Bible says moth and rust. Basically, you're going to destroy your stuff. You buy it today, eventually it's going to be poof tomorrow. Those shoes, those clothes. I mean, at the end of the day, 2 years, 2 weeks from now, they're going to be worth less. You look at the price of Teslas; they've gone crashing down. Like, okay, but the point I'm saying is, you also have the Joseph principle that I want to add to this conversation. And that is, the Joseph principle is this. And if you study the Bible, it talks about this. When you have a time of plenty and getting everything in, you want to save. Put it all together. You don't want to go out there and buy. And when the economy crashes, that's when you buy.
That's right.
And it sounds so simple, but it takes self-control and trust in God that everybody's going to tell you, man, just live it up. Well, this is going to go on forever. I hate to tell you, this is not going to go on forever. This world is not going to go on forever. Jesus is coming at some point, folks. And you got to understand that if you understand that Jesus is coming, these ebb and flows, this is going to eventually stop. This roller coaster that you want to live on, that you're living for, chasing after things, is going to stop at some point.
Oh yeah.
And and for those people that are worldly, I hate to tell you, but it's going to crash. If you're going to do it, go all the way out. The problem is, when you do, it's destructive behavior. The world destroys you naturally. You have a lot of people with money, and eventually that God you chase after is going to destroy you. It's going to, in fact, you won't find any pleasure in it after a while. Those things. If you rely on your skills or whatever, or your brain, whatever, when your brain and all those skills fall apart, who are you going to call on? And you got to call on the Lord. So, I got a lot of friends who are complaining about losing their 401k and stuff. And, where's your trust at? Is it in the economy? Is it into all that stuff? And you got guys looking at that every day. I wish they could, if they looked at their Bible like they looked at their stock market. Just imagine, if you looked at your attitude and see what the Bible talks about in Proverbs, how to change it and concentrate on man, the world would have been a better place by now. But because, people are selfish, and you got to understand, yes, in order for an economy to sustain itself, you got to spend, but you will go broke trying to save. You can't, your rich friends are going to have to spend, and they're not spending. That's what causes recessions and stuff. Right. That's why they remain rich, because they hoard it. You see these billionaires. It used to be millionaires. Now it's billionaires.
Right. Millionaire ain't nowhere.
Yeah. Millionaire is a regular job. Okay, you working for somebody. A billionaire is like, oh man, you a boss.
What's less than a millionaire?
A worker.
Poor people.
Yeah. You just got a job.
Middle class.
Yeah.
Oh, that's almost out gone. Yeah.
Mhm.
Well, with the prices rate going higher, uh,
Mhm.
that pushes the worker
Mhm.
into a working state because, like I
In the
said, if
lower
your
class.
habits determine if you like to go on those trips and vacations, you're going less of those. What are you going to do? You're going to try to work harder and try
Mhm.
to find. I mean, especially when the job market starts shrinking. But if you controlled your spending habits
Mhm.
and you worked on your spiritual habits, you know, think about it. Calling someone to pray for somebody, giving something out to somebody just because it's the right thing as a Christian to do, because you're building your kingdom up in heaven, not on earth. And a lot of people have gotten to the point where, and I'm not saying money's evil, but it's the love of it.
Love of money is the
And
root
people
of it.
love it so much that they either hoard it or they spend it,
Mhm.
but they don't try to use it for the kingdom. Like, God, what do you want me to do with this? Let's do the right thing, and you don't see a lot of that anymore. So, what are your final thoughts on this economy? Because, like I said, you guys seen a lot. You guys have lived through a lot. You've seen recession after recession, and you survived it. Praise the Lord. And you're telling people to pray. Have a relationship with God, because that's the only thing that's gonna get you through this. But what are your final thoughts on this?
There's a time to save and a time to spend.
Mhm.
And you have to know when to spend and when to save because money is just pieces of paper. It's no longer backed by gold. It's no longer backed by silver. It's just a piece of paper
Well,
and it's printed.
Mhm.
good point. Hantie, what were you gonna say?
I remember when my dad would pull up to the gas station and, they have the marquee sign up there telling you how much gas is 25 cents a gallon. You know what I paid today?
Where'd you
Two,
pay, Hantie?
325.
$3.17.
Mm,
And that was low. Because
Mhm.
there's some gas stations that were like, I
350.
guess, I don't know.
Well, I told a couple of my friends yesterday. I said, you know what? This economy is so bad and gas prices are so high. I said, I have decided that when I'm not going to run my car out of up to the empty and have to fill it up and pay $45, $50 to fill it up. I said, the thing that I'm going to do is keep enough money on hand to be able to. When my gas tank gets half full, I did it yesterday. It was on half full at over $3 a gallon. I said, I know how much I can put in and it'll fill it up, but it won't cost me a whole lot. I filled my car up with gasoline, $3 and some cents a gallon for $19.25. And I told my friends, I said, I am going to just watch my gas hand and keep money so that the system's only going to get $20 in mine at a time.
The government's only get 20
I've
so much
got
of your
figured out
tariff money.
that I'm going to be, yep, whatever. But that's what
You
I'm going to
know,
do. That's how So that's, I'm just saying, budget, and watch what. Don't give the man. Don't let the man who controls the gasoline prices. Don't let him get filthy rich off of your $45 to fill your tank up.
Mhm.
Let him get a little bit at a time, like the
He's
poor.
already filthy rich.
yeah,
No,
they don't need it. They
no,
don't need it.
what I'm saying, he's getting money from the poor people who can't afford, who don't go and they fill their car up with gas and it costs them $45, $50
Mhm.
a tank. That hurts.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Well, I'm just want to encourage people. Number one, keep God first.
Amen.
Yes, that's right.
And then keeping God first is keeping God's character.
Mhm.
We live in a world that people who call themselves Christians are name calling other people,
Mhm.
hating other people. I mean, these are not characteristics of a Christian.
Mhm.
This is just people who are sinners that are trying to be saints, holding on to sin that's going to send them to hell. And I
Mhm.
just want to encourage you, try to live your life like Christ,
Mhm.
especially during these times, because your character it's going to really show.
That's what you're taking.
How, that's what you're taking to heaven anyway.
Mhm.
But also too, your character is what is what people are going to know
We'll
you.
see. Right.
Because at the end of the day, I've seen people blow people's money because they hate them so much because of how they lived.
Mm.
I've seen people just say, well, I'm going to donate it all to whatever, and they blow it all because guess what? They're thinking, well, I'm going to hurt my family. A wise man leaves an inheritance to his children.
Mhm.
So whether they're going to blow it or not, that's your training. That's how you raise them. That's
Right.
your fault. Own it. Yes, you want things to happen, but you got to still take care of your family and your kids. You're worse than an invalid if you don't. And then you want to do the right things with it. They're going to make a difference because that's the reason why we're having problems, with the whole thing of even, we're going to step on just for a second with school luncheons getting cut. Folk, they're going to have some starving people out there. In churches, we're becoming so insensitive. We're becoming cold. Well, we don't, and the churches, they're not doing their job of, okay, we're going to feed them. Because trust me, you try to feed them, it's going to be more expensive than the government feeding them. The government has a system to do it. So I'm just challenging people who say they're of God, start living like it, start acting like, start doing God's principles of it. Let's just start there. Let's just start living what we say we're going to do instead of saying what we're not doing.
Mhm.
So I just want to challenge you all, and hopefully, like I said, trust in God. You're going to have an ebb and flow, but God never changes. He always rewards those, even in bad times, even in your darkest moment. I can speak from experience, and so can everybody here on this. We've all had our dark experiences, and we're witness. So till next time, we'll see you on Mom and Dad Talk. Stay encouraged.